Asia Kate Dillon was the first openly non-binary actor to play a non-binary character on a major TV show. After being submitted for an Emmy nomination for that role, Asia wrote a letter challenging the TV Academy on gendered categories, sparking an industry-wide conversation.
The only distinction we should be making when it comes to awards is between each outstanding performance.
Like, there's this idea that your gender matters for your performance, and that just isn't true. Like, at this point, honestly, I think that men should be much more scared if we integrate, categories than women. Because, if you're Leonardo DiCaprio, that's great, but can you imagine competing against Olivia Colman? Good luck, dude.
Thank you so much.
More and more, Hollywood is learning to look beyond the boundaries of gender. TV shows like Transparent, Orange is the New Black, Billions, and Pose, and the movie Tangerine have been cited as points of visibility for queer characters. In most of these cases, transgender and non-binary actors were cast in transgender and non-binary roles.
Young people are identifying less with the gender binary, and it's, I think, a necessity for survival for organizations to reflect the society that we're living in.
Yes, I was in this movie. I am getting the recognition that I deserve for my work because I worked very hard on it, and I would like to be considered in this category that reflects who I am as a person.
So why do we still have separate acting categories based on gender? One argument for keeping them goes like this. Having separate categories ensures that men and women are given exactly the same chance to win. And winning opens more doors and can lead to a bigger paycheck. If the categories are combined, actors would be competing for a smaller number of nominations, and women are at a disadvantage, because men are given the types of roles that tend to get nominated for these prestige awards more often. Women would get left behind. The data backs up that theory when it comes to Best Lead Actor. Male characters are the majority of leads in popular films, far more than female leads. And we already have an example of who tends to win in most categories that are ungendered at the Oscars. The Best Director category. In all of Oscar history, only 5 women have been nominated, and only one, Catherine Bigelow, has won. For comparison, there have been 5 Bobs who have won Best Director. That imbalance, particularly in 2020 when so many women were passed over for nominations, led Honey Boy director Alma Har'el to publicly call for a separate female director category. How do we balance the visibility of women with not forcing people to choose a gender they don't identify with to get an award?
No one has kind of the imagination to be like, well, how would we fix it? And it's funny because everyone acts like that would be super difficult to do. In fact, it's incredibly simple. I think we look at the Grammys as a model.
The Grammys reconfigured categories for pop, R&B, rock, and country performances in 2011, replacing gendered categories with a single Best Solo Performance, alongside its other categories like Best New Artist. Since then, the winners in those genre categories have been pretty evenly split between men and women, except for the rock category. Even though these categories are ungendered, there are still issues with the nominating process and who ends up winning those awards.
Black music has never been respected by the Grammys to the point that it should be.
The first step to rethinking gendered categories could be something like the Grammys. Restructure the categories to take the emphasis off of gender and onto something else.
I think what the MTV Movie Awards did in just doing Best Performance, Best Scene Stealer, and it being a multitude of inclusive, diverse population, I think they have a great starting point.
I feel like there's a need for an emerging actor category.
And then we would keep the same number of categories, but it would be actually based, the competition would be based in something that actually impacts your ability to do your job.
There is some evidence that having categories based on things other than gender leads to diverse nominations and wins. Since MTV combined categories, women have dominated. And in 2019, even though the Directors Guild didn't nominate any women for its Theatrical Feature Film Award, it did nominate a majority of women and women of color for first-time feature film, indicating that the vanguard of new directors are as diverse as they are talented. They just need to get on the ballot. Restructuring that ballot is one part of the equation. Another factor is who gets to vote.
The hashtag Oscars so white is still trending.
April Rain works as an activist who has seen success asking for change in a system that seems very slow to make it.
In 2016, the Academy chose to open up and diversify its membership and committed to doubling the number of people of color and doubling the number of women within its ranks by 2020.
As of June 2019, the Academy met at least part of their goal, doubling the number of people of color from 8% to 16%. The number of women only increased from 25% to 32%.
If you have a more diverse membership, a membership that reflects the audience of those who are actually sitting in the seats watching the films, then there's a better chance that you're going to get nominations of talented, worthy individuals who are either up on the screen or behind the camera.
Hollywood in particular is primed for being an industry that's open to innovation and new ideas and seeing around the corner, understanding what's next.
Oh, the category is love, y'all, love. We as artists are the people that get to change the molecular structure of the hearts and minds of the people who live on this planet.
And the thing that's really beautiful, the opportunity that the Oscars and the Emmys and the Golden Globes have is to say, oh, we can be agents of change in socially constructing gender differently and in a way that's more inclusive and in a way that's more exciting. It's such an easy shift, but the effects of it are earth-shattering and wonderful and powerful.